this talk today, hopefully it's going to be fun. Come on, Karma. Give it to me. Tigers in the end zone. Where's the KU person? Anybody? OU. I saw OU shirt. OU. Thank you, OU. I love that, the way you all talk and everything. Okay, what about Minnesota? What about the Green Bay? Where's the Green Bay? Yeah! Okay, I'm from Wisconsin. We know, last night, everything... Whoa! See, even the women in Green Bay, they win one championship, and they get violent. Wow! So learning to do everything you can within this office, what you can control, is what I had to do. I started to think, this is my office out here where the ball's being held. Who wants to be a holder? Anybody? Anybody want to be a holder? Come on, Tony. Okay, you be the snapper, actually. Who wants to be a holder? Come on. Blonde woman who yawns a lot. Come on. This is a good analogy. What's your name? Taylor, nice to meet you. Where are you from? Pennsylvania. Excellent. Okay. So let's look at this analogy here. Self-awareness, the team. I would look at my team as the line right here. Okay, that's my family. Okay. The holder is my business team. They position me to kick the field goal. And once you come over here, since I'm a right footer, let's see who we're going to hit here. And then this is you. What do you do with that? Another way to look at it is, this is the conditioning you grew up with, telling you what you could and couldn't do. This right here is really more, these are thoughts. These are feelings, what you do with those feelings, you know? Do I feel confident? Do I feel like I deserve to not be the imposter? This is my birthday party. I don't care there are 100,000 people screaming obscenities at me or very special loving things about my family, my mother, like they did in the NFL. I can handle it. And then the last part is you know, how do you feel that moment of truth? So let's do it. Let's do a practice thing. All right, here we go. So he's going to snap it to you.
Are you ready?
Taylor. Once you get down on one knee, get comfortable. Okay, so you can just toss it to her.
You got to catch.
Okay, there you go. Okay, you put the ball down, and then watch out for that wonderful those fingernails. So, I mean, usually we have a big ceiling. But if I was to kick now, Karma, what do we got for the insurance for the chandeliers? Okay, so if I get a little kick. Yay! For those that remember, our friend, whether it was Frank Gifford, Danny Don Meredith, and Howard Cosell. Howard Cosell was the first Sunday night game ever, national TV, from the Monday Night Crew, saying, Howard Cosell, there goes, that's all. Angular one from Dartmouth College. Has never tried a field goal before. Can he handle the pressure? Oh yeah, oh, sure. And the light goes on the camera when it's on you, so you just try to, you're trying to look the part. I could not look the part. And I knew I had a lot of work to do. But what happened is, we won that game. Steve Grogan from Kansas State rolled out, ran down the 2-yard line. Suddenly I was like, oh yeah, I got this next point now. We won the game, but the Patriots still cut me 2 weeks later. And that began this process of thinking, what is failure? Is it somebody else's determination? Or is what I do with it, that moment of truth? The failure. All of us have had failures. You don't have to raise your hands, but I bet you some people have had short sales in this audience, or certainly everybody's known somebody who's had short sales or foreclosures. Who's known somebody who's had a foreclosure in this audience? Those are tough things. That may be the most fundamental things. The notion of your own home lost. This economy has been really hard to find a way to adjust. What makes America great is our creativity. And that's the biggest thing I can think of, is what I learned from being inflexible initially was how to try to get my mind in a state of creativity and relaxation when I performed. When we are depressed, when we are disempowered, when we are feeling weak, we go to a different part of our mind that has no creativity. Remember that next time. When you're down and depressed, say to yourself, get creative, get creative, get creative, get creative, get creative, get creative, get creative. And I'm going to, in Midwest, this is the worst thing I could do, but I'm going to talk about a guy who worked for Bill Clinton and what happened with him when $55 million was used to prove that he did something very horrible, and yet, by the end of his presidency, he still had an 80% popularity rating, because when I met with him, I got to meet with him a few times personally, separate from all the mistakes he made like we all make, we all have some weaknesses, he had some bad ones, some horrible ones. He kept working, and our staff, the people I work with, they kept staying creative and kept problem solving. Now, what is the popularity rating right now of Congress? 9%? Stay creative in your, no matter what happens, stay creative, create mechanisms for interaction with your group. So, attitude of self-determination, we will solve this great problem. 2, accountability, we will measure it, we'll find a way to prove it. And 3, what is our culture? Each company and each team has a different culture, right? You each have fit different roles, right? Like the second baseman and the shortstop on a double play. Or in football, the analogy would be an offensive lineman protecting the quarterback, the wide receiver catching it, the pass rusher hitting the hell out of the quarterback. You know, each of you has a different role in this industry. There are ridiculous, stupid people out there. At the highest levels of the NFL, at the highest levels of every industry, even us ourselves, we have our moments of stupidity. There are knuckleheads out there. And part of the message of persistence is the knucklehead factor, you know? That you have to hang in there so long that finally you're with somebody that appreciates who you are. Juan, you know, what are your unique gifts? What would you say is one of your unique gifts? What is something that you think now you're better at than, say, 10 years ago?
I'm a better parent than I am before.
Better parent? Yeah. Wonderful. Anybody else? What's a great gift, sir? Greg, you want to... 20 years ago, here you've come in 20 years. Is there something you look at differently now that you're better at now?
I think I'm a better listener.
Better listener. Yeah, that's a great thing, by the way. The wonderful book, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, talks about ego versus, and it's related to the first book we talked about, ego, the narcissistic athlete, definitely ego all the way, and the spirit. And I think it's been great for me to realize every time I'm feeling unlike myself or ineffective as a leader or unhappy, it's my ego which is holding me to old identities. It's the hardest thing to do, to stay humble and ask, what is my real purpose, and what is, if I want to be the best I can be, it's certainly not measured by just making me great. It's making everybody great around me. The harvest. What is the harvest going to be for you? Is it shared, or is it just a bunch of numbers? Is it that feeling I can retire now on vacation? What are your roots? From what does that come? Where do those values come from that make the dream real? What's the music that makes you feel like it's real, that it's an everyday thing, not something in the future, some indeterminate time? And how good is that band? What kind of music are you guys playing together? You able to play jazz as well as blues? You ever get it done? And always remember, it's not easy. We're pushing that baby up the rock. There's a rock star. Never giving up, baby. America right now, just like FDR, what I learned with Eagleton back in 1982, America is still in the midst of a real challenge. And it will take people like you to be leaders at the new level, but know this, that being a great leader is the greatest feeling when you know you've empowered your team, other people to live better lives, live lives of meaning. That's a pretty exciting way to have a challenge. I've been writing a book called Naked Alone with 80,000 People, and it's coming out next year. And I've been interviewing Marv Levy, Dick Vermeil, Marty Schottenheimer, some great coaches. They all had different leadership styles, but every one of them had one thing in common. They loved their players, and their players loved them, you know? And in the NFL, when you're sacrificing your body, even as a kicker, man, I would have somebody, can you stand up, Larry, for a second? Even as a kicker, I used to think I should be like a Buddha. I must find myself like Deepak Chopra, and I must find my center and be perfectly ready. By the end of my career, it's like I'd have Larry, Larry's a 300-pound lineman, and Larry would, I'd say, hit me, boom! And I'd have him hit me a couple times. Good job.
I've been hit a lot.
High five, thank you. I do that during games because that reminded me that I'm in this moment. And I'll just leave you with my favorite quote from another Roosevelt. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, or the woman, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly and comes short again and again and again, at least knows the triumph of high achievement. And if he or she fails, they will never be lost with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Thank you, bless you.